Regarding the debate that happened between Dave Smith and Douglas Murray on Joe Rogan yesterday, I'm going to try to just highlight a few things. It was a very long debate and I don't want to go off for too long, but let's just start with this. Douglas Murray spent the first legit 20 minutes of the podcast whining and complaining and appealing to authority. Typical right winger, they love to talk about censorship and cancel culture and how we shouldn't have to listen to experts. But then when it comes to the Israeli regime, all of a sudden they love censorship, they hate free speech, they love cancel culture, and you need to appeal to authority and be an expert. It was quite embarrassing. He was such a Karen. Then a bunch of people were praising him as some kind of gotcha because he said to Dave Smith, well, you haven't even been to Gaza, have you? Without anyone pointing out that no one can go to Gaza. This isn't the own that they think it is. If you're going to talk about shouldn't you have been? Literally no one can get in. They keep it that way on purpose. That's why they don't let any foreign journalists in. They don't let any Americans in. They don't let any British press in. They don't let anyone in. They don't want you to see what it's actually really like in Gaza. So he's not winning with this. Everything he said was a lie. Everything he said was bullshit. He claimed that the Israelis, they just really want to live in peace side by their neighbors, which is belied by every single video or article you have ever seen or tweet or Instagram post by people actually living in the Israeli regime. And if you actually listen to what they say, they make it very clear they have no interest in peace or living side by side. They want the land. They want the Palestinians gone by any means necessary, and they want their shit. What I've learned by reading Western media and Israeli media and watching both social medias, that all of this peace talk is just for Western audiences. Absolutely no relation to reality. And that brings me to the point of the criticism of Dave Smith, okay? A lot of people, I was extremely disappointed in it because I expected better from him. I thought that he was going to do a lot better than he actually did. First of all, he ceded way too much ground to him, ceding the ground that they're just looking for peace, ceding the ground that they supposedly had all these opportunities for a state. The fact that Douglas Murray actually said that they had a state isn't, they never had a state. And then there's always goalposts moving, right? So he's like, they left Gaza in 2005. They didn't. And Dave Smith is like, well, they didn't. They put a blockade on it. Well, why did they put a blockade on it? Goalposts moving. First you said that they left and that there wasn't a blockade. Then you admitted, okay, they didn't actually ever leave and there is a blockade, but it's okay that there is. Always moving the goalposts. Douglas Murray lied so much about October 7th. He repeated so many of their debunk hoaxes, okay? There has already been so much thorough debunking of the hoaxes and lies and atrocity propaganda that they made up about October 7th. And Dave Smith just let it slide. He's like, yeah. Which to me was probably the most unacceptable part because he should know better. He should absolutely know better. And the fact that they have used those atrocity propaganda hoaxes about October 7th to dehumanize the Palestinians so thoroughly and use those lies to do to the Palestinians what they are accusing them of doing, it's just this is a lot of people's first experience watching a debate on this. And that was also really disheartening because for a lot of people, the first time they're seeing a debate on this, that's what they take away, lies. I don't really think either of them won, but I do think that Douglas Murray lost a little bit more because how do you lose with a British accent? Okay, usually British people already have an advantage when it comes to debates because their accents sound cool and they always sound smart and assured. And you know what? I usually love British accents, for real. I love British accents. I love the way British people talk. I love how they end things with you know what I mean? Or how they'll say literally, whilst. I love whilst. Or how they'll end their statements with a question when they know the answer. They'll be all, you're a contemptible liar, aren't you? Shit like that, except for him. I can't stand the way he talks. He sounds like a bad guy villain in 101 Dalmatians, the cartoon. He looks like somebody that would be mean to Dalmatians, okay? There's probably other things that I'm missing about this debate, but I've already gone on too long. Basically, it was an incredibly disappointing debate, and somebody who actually is Palestinian needs to get in these debates, okay? They should have had Ali Abunimah from Electronic Intifada debate him because he wouldn't have ceded the amount of ground that Dave Smith ceded to him. And you know what? We need to actually start having Palestinians in these debates. By the way, that's not to say that other people still shouldn't debate it. Everybody should, and everybody should be on the side of the Palestinians. But if you're going to, don't sit there and cede ground to people like Douglas Murray, who is an actual professional propagandist and liar who unironically wrote a book praising neoconservatism.